you look at the writing room this year, and you've got 3 Indigenous people writing in the room, and I think that's moving in the right direction with Madison and Mary and Miigwech, and those voices are so important to have as part of that room.
I think one thing I was just going to add on top of that is I think there have been I think it'd been challenging for a lot of viewers to think that something as Indigenous as Burden or something like that could also be commercial. It could also tick all those other boxes. I think that's one thing that the show has done so well. At the end, that it is a very commercial series. It's about family. There's a love story between Billy and Joanna, but then weaved within it, there's all these other important issues. And I think finding that balance is something that the room's really managed to do quite well, and I think it's something we hope to continue doing.
And I really quickly, I have to give a shout out to CBC and to say to all of the Canadian broadcasters, everyone needs to be part of this, because Madison Thomas, who's writing in the room this year, who's in the writing room this year, she was the first, I think, person who was part of what was last year a pilot project to have an Indigenous person mentor a key creative. And so we did that on Burden of Truth last year. So she mentored on the show, and now she's in the writing room. So this, to me, is where it starts with one thing and then it moves to the next, and it's about sustaining that. It's about giving the opportunity not once, but then again, and moving people up. And that's where we'll really develop the talent, is by keeping the support there for people that we're going to bring up. And so it's nice to see when it works, and everyone should do their best to make it work.
Madison's also a powerhouse. She's incredible. She can do everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. She's also a director and a producer.
And she edits too, doesn't she?
Oh yeah, she's a terrific editor, yeah.
Let's talk about one more relationship, in-series relationship, before we start wrapping up, and that's between Joanna and Billy Crawford, played by Peter Mooney. If you saw the teaser there, if you were paying attention, you saw a little bit of kissing going on, and that's kind of been a slow burn from season 1. The looks between them got longer and longer until we finally got a kiss. So before we dissect the relationship fully, let's take a look at a clip. This is from the season 2 finale.
Hi.
There's something I never told you. Something I never told anyone. I keep running because I don't think I've ever been loved. So I don't know how to love.
That's not true. There are people who love you.
They try, but I won't let them.
Well, you're going to a whole new city. It's a fresh start.
You can do whatever you want, right? Did you think about asking me to stay with you?
I can't give you to Singapore. You're gonna conquer the world.
You didn't answer that question.
She wasn't really at the airport. But seriously, this couple is, they're not even a couple, and maybe they won't be a couple in season 3, but this relationship has been so up and down. That was a great payoff. It would have been easy to just have them be together from the very beginning or earlier on in the first 2 seasons. So can you talk, do you have thoughts on how that relationship evolved instead of just throwing them together?
Yeah, I'm going to give way backstory. When we first started, I was like, I don't want to do another show where I'm having a love interest all the time. I just have to play love all the time. And then,
That's Peter Mooney.
yeah, Peter's very handsome, but also like, rightly, I understand, like, Ewan really wanted to have a good love story in there. I think Brad did too, and we all kind of moved in the direction of a love story. But it's so, I like that we play it quite real. I mean, season 1, they're working together. Joanna's a practical person. Like, no matter what, she was only there for a short time, and I like that. I like that we play that really solid. And I thought that it was earned in season 2 when they got to the point that they got to. And then for season 3, I think we're skipping ahead a couple of years, so you miss some of the things that you often see, the will they, won't they, like that kind of stuff is eliminated a bit on our show, so we can get into the meat of relationships. Because I like will they, won't they, but I also have seen it done so many times, and I want to get into the relationship. I want to see what's going on for them. What are they struggling with? Like how hard is it to be together and have all of this trauma from your past, and how do you come to each other with that? And I like that our show gets to do that. And Peter's so much fun to work with, and we have a good time. He's a great leader.
We got a couple more minutes before the Q&A starts. So I want to follow up on that, because you've already mentioned that season 3 apparently is going to jump forward a couple of years. So I don't know if that's a spoiler alert or not.
Yes, spoiler.
Is there anything? Is there any?
Also, could change.
Right, could change. How far into production are you on season 3 right now?
Writer's Room's been up with everybody, the Writer's Room's been up for 2 weeks. They're into their 3rd. With the creator and the showrunner, I think they had a couple weeks prior.
Yeah. Anything else that can be said about season 3? I mean, obviously we're very early on and things could change, but anything else?
Camera August 6th.
We're going to camera on August 6th. Translations.
That's about it.
All right. Let's talk about Winnipeg a little bit more in detail. Filming in Winnipeg, productions in Winnipeg. Go ahead, sell the city and what the province also has to offer.
Well, the thing I love most about the way we do this show is we just embrace Winnipeg as Winnipeg.
Yeah.
You know, we do it, we, not Eaglevision, but Winnipeg does a lot of service work. And Winnipeg is often playing many other places. So, from an Eaglevision perspective, we love to tell our own stories. We've told a lot of Winnipeg stories. We told the story of Elijah Harper. We did a film called We Were Children that's very much, prairies based. And we made a feature film called Lovesick that's set in Winnipeg. It's a love note to Winnipeg. So we love telling our own stories. So that suits us well. But from a production perspective, when you bring the crew in and they know they're shooting their own town, there's a little bit of magic that happens that doesn't otherwise. There's a little bit more investment that naturally comes with pride. And sometimes we're setting up shots, in particular in downtown Winnipeg, and the camera guys have to take a moment, because usually they're told, no, shoot off of that because we want it to look like somewhere else. And now they're told, no, shoot right at that because we want it to look like Winnipeg. So I think that there's an intangible value in the pride the crew brings to a show when they're shooting the city for itself, especially when they don't usually. All of that aside, it's the most lucrative tax credit in the world. So it's not only production friendly because of the terrific crews, but you're talking about a 65% labor-based tax credit. So doing a show like this from a business perspective as a Manitoba-Ontario interprovincial co-production means that you can leverage pretty close to between 35 and 40% of the budget through tax credits.
The show is supposed to be an East Coast-based show at first, but the tax credits.
Interesting. Well, and I think that this show is served better by as a tax credit aside, the fact that it's in Winnipeg, because the focus is spent so much in filming in Toronto and filming in Vancouver for obvious reasons, larger cities, but the fact that, Winnipeg is Winnipeg, is a character in the show that would have been lost if you were filming in any of those other cities, I think.
Absolutely, and because Winnipeg is Winnipeg, when it comes to the access perspective, it's a different pitch. So if we want to go into interesting locations, we sell this. You know this show, it's your show. It's Winnipeg's show. It's Burden of Truth.
Yeah.
Let's do this together. And so people get excited on a different level. It doesn't become immediately about how much are you going to pay me. It's, that pride continues through the community, not just the crews and the industry, but it resonates within the community. we were talking backstage beforehand about the minister in charge of our industry in Manitoba. This is her favorite show.
She loves it so much.
She loves it so much. So that pride goes a long way towards people supporting the show at every level.
We've got 2 minutes left, and we do have some microphones in the room, so if you've got a question, put your hand up, and I will, right up front here.
Hi, my name is Tyler Duffy. I'm an actor, writer, director in Alberta, and I'm curious, can you give me kind of a brief story of where did the impetus for Burden of Truth start, and what was the journey for it becoming greenlit and going into production?
Well, Brad's not here. Brad Simpson, the creator, and this is really his show. I would say that Joanna is Brad, also me, but she's very much him, and it came from his brain. I mean, I don't know if any of us know more fully.
Well, he was a lawyer. And
Yes.
He hated corporate law. Hated it.
Loathed it.
And he comes from a family background of working in the business, and so he kind of comes honestly by the business and has been a writer his whole life, and so gave up the law, and this became his baby. And so Brad's creative and Kristen's attachment, and then the force that is Alana Frank, who's the producing leader of this whole thing, driving it forward. Alana's a hit maker. And she's
I think
an
Alana can
unbelievable
get anything
force.
done.
Yeah. So it's a pretty great combination to have someone like her pushing it on the producing side and have someone as authentic as Brad bringing this kind of story to the page.
Does that answer your question?
That's great, thank you.
We're missing a few key players, that's all.
Any other,
Hi, it's working. Hi. My name is Jesse Anthony. I'm from Six Nations. I'm a writer, director, producer. So how do I become the 4th Indigenous writer and producer? No, I just want to say thank you, Yago. It's so inspiring to hear that is so like an important, pathway. And I know Mary and I know Laura, and so it's really awesome to see that and striving for that and not coming from a place not ever believing I could be in this industry or that it was tangible, and being someplace where I'm like, hey, I know that it's just really inspiring. So thank you for that.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll ask one that I thought of while we were talking, and that was about Star. Fantastic actress, and I wondered and you might not even know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Was the character expanded in season 2 because she was kind of, like, wow, this is a great actress and we could do a lot with this character? Do you know the answer to that?
I think she was always supposed to be a huge part of the show. And that storyline for Luna was kind of conjured up before Star was even cast.
Okay.
But the fact that Star had never really done anything before this show. Her growth in the couple of years she's